What's up, everybody? Kyle here at Let's Talk Wax with Prospect Hot Sheet episode number 6. This is a bi-weekly series that I do throughout the course of the minor league season. And this week we are going to be covering our top 15 along with about 50 honorable mentions. Now there are some qualifications for this list, so don't get upset when you don't see guys like Jordan Westburg. Hitters have to be under the age of 24 and within rookie limits to qualify for Hot Sheet. And I also rank my top 15 based on a Let's Talk Wax rank, and it's based on player ceiling. So the best possible outcome from a player. And if you guys want to snap a screenshot of my Let's Talk Wax ranking system, it's going to help you out in this video and also all of my other content that I do over on the channel. If you guys are into Bowman baseball cards and prospects, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my new videos. But without further ado, let's jump into our Prospect Hot Sheet, episode number 6. At number 15, we have a guy that I just covered in a sleeper video a couple weeks ago, and he is no longer a sleeper. As you can see, his Bowman Chrome Autos have jumped to about $50. Hector Rodriguez in the Cincinnati Reds organization was traded there by the Mets, who I'm sure are regretting that at this point. 19.3, playing in Daytona in low A, left fielder. He's hit .364 with 2 homers, 2 triples, 4 doubles, and 10 RBIs over the last 15 days. He's kind of tacking on to a stellar season that he's having so far in 2023, hitting .310 with a .263 ISO. So exceptional contact, exceptional power numbers. He's got a really good K to walk ratio, a sub 20. The only kind of reddish colored flag that I see with Rodriguez right now is his aggressiveness at the plate. He's only got a 3.40 K to walk ratio, but it doesn't seem to be slowing down his production. I think of a guy like Christian Encarnacion Strand, who has a big hit tool, big power tool, and doesn't have terrible K numbers, or a K percentage, but he does not take many walks. So we'll see how it pans out when he gets promoted to high A, which I think will happen by the end of the year. He's already got 12 home runs and 10 stolen bases in 2023. Career-wise, his numbers look really good across the board. .316 batting average, .222 career ISO, and a 14.8 K percentage. Now, he's not ranked in the top 10, but he is in number 25 in the Cincinnati Reds organization. I actually have him as a 1.5, which is really, really high. I think it's the highest rank on this list. I don't think there's anybody above a 1.5 in my top 15 on this episode. So I can't discredit what he's done so far, and I have to give him a pretty solid rank. He's out of 2023 Bowman. Like I said, his cards are getting a bit more expensive at $50 right now. At number 14, we've got Justin Crawford out of the freshly released 2023 Bowman Philadelphia Phillies, 19.5, playing in low A as well. And much like Hector Rodriguez, I do foresee Crawford getting a promotion to high A by the end of the year. There's really not a whole lot of competition in the Phillies organization. There's a significant amount in the Cincinnati Reds organization, but not so much in the Phillies organization. Now, Crawford isn't really built for power. He's not going to hit home runs, but what he's going to do is show off his exceptional hit tool and game-changing speed. He's already got 32 stolen bases in low A, and I don't think that number's inflated because of the gimmies at that level. I think he's going to continue to be an impact runner on the bases as he moves up through the ranks, but he's hit .424 over the last 10 with 3 triples, a double, 8 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases. On the year, he's hitting .348, a total hit machine right now so far in the lower minors. The 117 ISO, as you can see, is probably the lowest on this list, and it's not going to change much as he moves up through the system. Pretty good K percentage, sub 20, but he's got a little bit of aggressiveness at a 2.57 K to walk ratio, which could be lowered. I mean, it's not terrible. I try to consider my excellent K numbers, K to walk ratios under 2, so he's not too far off from that. No homers, like I said, 32 stolen bases, and the career line is exceptional as well, .322 with a sub 100 ISO, 18.6. So you had a really high floor player right here who's got a great contact tool. He's going to play double plus defense in center field. He's a number 89 in the top 100 on MLB.com, number 3 in the Phillies system. And just due to his high floor and the low risk and the quality of MLB player I think he could be, I gave him a rank of 1.5 as well. Like I said, there's not a huge ceiling here, but he could be a very solid major league player for several years in the Phillies organization. He's also out of 2023 Bowman for about $50 right now. At number 13, we've got Bat First Blaze, one of the better hitters in minor league baseball. 20.5 high A, Boston Red Sox. Not going to play a ton of defense, but he's done nothing but mash since being drafted back in 2021. Now he's putting up good numbers in high A. I'd really like to see Blaze Jordan in AA by the end of 2023 just to see what he can do, because he's not really being challenged anymore in high A. He's hit 378 over the last 10 with 3 dingers, 3 doubles, 9 RBIs, and 7 walks. He's got a 1.56 K to walk ratio and a 13.8 K percentage, which is really good for a player his age in high A. He's hitting 323 on the year with a 207 ISO. His career average is 300, a sub 200 career ISO, and a 16.7 K percentage. So it's a big bat. It's going to be a productive bat. I also think it's a very high floor bat, kind of like Crawford's. The only downside to Jordan is he's not going to play elite level defense at any position in the major leagues, and he could kind of transition into a DH role with the Boston Red Sox. So not a ton of defensive upside, but there is a big bat, and that's kind of what talks in the prospecting world are the offensive outputs of players. And, you know, if they play elite defense, that can add to their stock, but it's mainly based on offensive production. You look at guys like Yordan Alvarez, you know why he's so successful in the hobby. He's not a top 100 rankee. He's number 10 in the organization of Boston. I also have him as a 1.5 2021 Bowman, and his cards are about $80 right now. At number 12, we have former first-round pick with the New York Yankees, Trey Sweeney, 23.2, playing in AA at shortstop, and he's really worked on his K numbers in 2023. He's improved them pretty well since the 2022 season. Over the last 10, he's hit 250 with 5 homers, a triple, 2 doubles, 11 RBIs, and 5 walks. Now, Sweeney really hasn't lived up to the expectations of the Yankees shortstop who was drafted in the first round. Over the course of his career, he's hit 246 with a sub 200 ISO and 21.9 K percentage. He's having one of the better seasons of his career, though, so far. He's hitting 250 with a 187 ISO, really good K numbers, and 10 homers and 10 stolen bases. And his cards are still pretty valuable, around $30 right now. He's just kind of gotten shadowed by Anthony Volpe and Oswald Peraza, the big-time middle infielders in that organization. And he's never really, like I said, lived up to that first-round draft pick from the Yankees potential that people kind of try to chase on release. So he is number 5 in the organization, not a top 100 prospect. I give him a rank of a 4.5, but that could change, you know, if he continues to perform well in 2023. But he's 23.2 right now, so he's a bit old for the hobby, and he's getting to a point where a lot of players have already made their first major league debut. He's out of 2022 Bowman for about $30. At number 11, we've got Tommy Sagasi, Texas Rangers, 21.2 AA, a guy who I've talked about as a sleeper prospect for about a year and a half now. He's been hitting nonstop since being drafted. He's just under 300 as a career minor league player. I see a 297 career batting average and just under 200 career ISO. And those are the two things that I look for that special players usually have, are a 300 plus batting average and a 200 plus career ISO. When they have those two numbers throughout their career, there's a very good chance that they will see playing time at the major league level at some point in their career, just because those are kind of exceptional numbers. He's only 21.2 as well, playing in AA. He played in AA a little bit last year as a 20-year-old, but he's back in AA, performing pretty well. He's hit 455 over the last 10 with 2 dingers, a triple, 5 doubles, 13 RBIs, and 5 walks. He's having an amazing season, hitting 311, just under 200 ISO, 22.5 K percentage, and 2.55 K to walk ratio with 10 homers and 6 stolen bases. Not a top 100 prospect. He's all the way down at number 15 in the organization. He's a $5 auto, but I give him a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2 because the bat is has a lot of potential in my opinion. Like I said, if you look at the career numbers, he's done nothing but hit since being drafted. But I do think that he kind of gets shadowed by Luis Angel Acuna in that organization. He's probably the top, if not he is the top middle infield prospect with the Rangers. So Sagasi kind of gets shadowed by him, but he's a $5 auto, pretty cheap for the career numbers that he's put up so far. Now, if you guys enjoy Bowman Chrome baseball cards and you want to unlock some of my exclusive content and help support the channel, head over to my Patreon page. I've got lots of cool stuff to keep you busy over there. A top 100 Bowman Chrome autos list. They recently updated top 125 Bowman Chrome autos list under $50. I've got autograph checklist breakdowns for every single release since 2019, a private Discord server, and I also offer 24 hours early access to all my video info. Like I said, if you guys want to help support the channel and unlock some of my exclusive content, head to my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. At number 10, we have Dion Jorge with the Colorado Rockies, 20.2, still playing in the Complex League, which is a bit mind-boggling to me. He is a shortstop, had a big last 15, 485 with a homer, 3 triples, 2 doubles, 7 RBIs, 11 walks, and 6 stolen bases. So a big last 15 for Jorge. I'm really not sure why the Rockies aren't more aggressive with him. He is 20.2 playing in the Complex League, a bit old for the level, but it's not due to his performance. He's done nothing but hit since being signed. He's got elite K numbers. These lower levels don't seem to be challenging him much. He's hitting 403 on the season with a 275 ISO, which isn't due to a ton of home runs. It's due to more of a smaller sample size and a lot of extra base hits. He's got a bunch of doubles, a bunch of triples. He's really an extra base hit machine with his speed. And like I said, the elite K numbers have me really interested in Jorge as a future prospect. Career-wise, he's hitting 340 with a 164 ISO, 13.9 K percentage. And anytime a guy takes more walks than he strikes out, I usually perk my eyes up a bit. Jason Chourio, you can see him in the honorable mentions when we get there, is another young player that I like who strikes out less than they walk. So those guys are the type that I try to keep an eye on. Sometimes they grow into some power, sometimes they don't. But like I said, anybody who has excellent K numbers usually finds a way to maximize their hit tool. So always keep that in mind. He's not a top 100 prospect. He's only number 16 in the organization. He's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2.5 for me right now out of 2023 Bowman, and his cards are around $25. At number 9, we've got a guy who's been on my list a couple times so far this season, Ivan Melendez. He is a big power bat, 23.4, getting a bit old for the hobby, and you're going to notice there are quite a few older players on the list this episode, which is no control of my own. It just happens to be who's performing the best. Now, he's only in high A. I would like to see somebody of that age either in AA, AAA, or the MLB, but it's only his second year playing in the minor leagues. He's a first base prospect, and that's where he's going to stay. 326 batting average with 4 homers, a triple, 5 doubles, and 7 RBIs over the last 15. Now, Melendez has big power, but he's kind of trending towards slugger status with me based on his K numbers and low defensive ceiling. Now, he hits for a little bit more average than most prototypical sluggers. You know, I think of guys like Elvis Martinez and people like that who have a lot of power, but they don't hit for a ton of average. They have a little bit of a higher strikeout rate. Joe Kenzie Noel, another guy that comes to mind kind of in the slugger stat book, but 15 home runs on the year so far with 3 stolen bases. His career numbers are pretty linear with his 2023 numbers, with the exception of some more ISO. He's hitting a bunch of home runs this year. Number 7 in the Diamondbacks organization, not a top 100 prospect. He's a 3.5 for me out of 2022 draft, and his cards go for about $30 right now. A blast from the past, Jeremiah Jackson is taking the number 8 spot, and this is a guy that I jumped on back in 2019. He hit 23 home runs in the Rookie League, in the Pioneer League, and ever since then he's been a bit disappointing. It's been more strikeout over production. Los Angeles Angels shortstop prospect, 23.3, playing in AA, hit 4 homers, 3 doubles, and 7 RBIs over the last 15. You can see his 2023 stats and career stats are very, very linear. So what you see is what you're probably going to get with Jeremiah Jackson. He just basically stopped getting into a lot of power in the upper minors. He's hitting 254 with a sub 200 ISO. The K rates kind of got a little out of control. and he never really got back to where he was back in that big season where he hit the 23 home runs. So I'm still sitting on a bunch of Jeremiah Jackson, kind of waiting for him maybe to get a call up if somebody goes down. 7 home runs and 15 stolen bases on the year so far. He's not a top 100 prospect. He's number 13 in the Angels organization. I give him a 5.5 because I just don't see him being a real impact player at the major league level, but I do think he has a shot to make it there one day. He's all the way back out of 18 draft, and his cards are super cheap at about $5. At number 7, I have a guy that I feel like is way too cheap in the hobby right now. Liover Peguero had a cup of coffee in the major leagues. I think he had like 4 plate appearances, played in 1 game in 2022. He got sent back down, and the hobby just kind of seemed to forget about this really young player in the Pirates organization who plays shortstop and holds some pretty impressive career K numbers. He's in Double-A right now, 22.5. He had 4 home runs over the last 15 with 6 doubles. He's hitting 276 on the year with a career high ISO of 207. That was one of the things I was kind of on the fence about with Peguero, was how much power he was going to grow into. You can see his career ISO is 154, but his 2023 ISO is 207. So growing into a little bit more power, or just found a little bit of power on a hot streak, and that's kind of juicing his ISO. You never really know. The numbers can't tell you everything. They can just kind of guide you along the way. But 11 home runs and 18 stolen bases. I think back in 2021, he had 14 home runs over about 400 plus plate appearances. So he's definitely on pace to break that record as well. As we approach the midpoint, he's already got 11. So he's a guy to watch, not a top 100 prospect, number 7 in the Pirates organization. I do think there is still some upside with Liover Peguero on the middle infield, maybe 2.5. Let's talk wax rank. He's out of 2021 Bowman Chrome. Like I said, he's really cheap right now at $12. If you feel like he's a guy that could pan out, it may be a good time to jump on him while he's cheap. A very interesting player at number 6, Anthony Hall, the New York Yankees organization. He's 22.3 playing in low A, but this is actually his first full season where he's had more than about 20 plate appearances of his career. So I can't really knock him on being too old for A-ball when it's really no fault of his own. He was just an older draft pick back in 2022. 317 with 5 homers, a double, 12 RBIs, and 7 walks. He's hitting 286 on the year with a 198 ISO. Really, really good K numbers, 8 homers and 3 stolen bases. And his career numbers are pretty much linear with his season numbers. Because like I said, this is the first time he's played a qualifying season where he's had more than about 10 plate appearances. He's not a top 100 rankee. He's number 19 in the organization, and I gave him a 4 kind of because he's, like I said, he's a 22.3. He's a little old for A-ball. I'd like to see someone his age in Double-A or even in the major leagues, and we haven't even got a sample size in high A yet. He does not have a base auto in 2022 Bowman draft, and they're selling for about $20. The refractors is the lowest that they go. So Anthony Hall may be a guy to keep an eye on. He's going to have to get to high A quick and maybe even Double-A by the end of 2023 for people to really buy in and get excited about him. So we'll have to see what happens. But like I said, it's his first professional full season over a larger sample size. So we really don't know what's going to happen with Anthony Hall. Now, before we jump into our top 5, I've got a laundry list of honorable mentions. I'm going to try to breeze through these guys pretty quickly. So if you want to take some screenshots and reference them later, it would probably be your best bet. But I'm going to try to cover some of the guys. I put AAA and AA together because Jorge Barosa was the only guy in AAA that was age appropriate for my content. Johan Rojas, Don Rafaela, Leo Jimenez, Alex Pinellas, and Trey Lipscomb took some big 15 days in the AA Eastern League. Ice cold still is Robert Hassel, just having a horrid 2023 season. I don't really know what's going on there. Very strange. Jason Dominguez is struggling as well over the last 15 with 19 strikeouts and only 7 hits. Not a lot of action in the Southern League in AA. Brian Ramos making his first appearance on the hot sheet, a guy I really like and I know the White Sox are very high on, had 4 home runs. Junior Caminero won't stop hitting. Luis Mieses is a guy that I kind of have hoarded as a sleeper prospect. I got a bunch of his cards in my closet just kind of waiting for him to do some big things, and now may be the time to sell. Owen Casey had 2 home runs, still hitting .270, not having a blowout year in Double-A so far, but he has made some improvements since the beginning of the year where he's striking out a ton. BJ Murray and Mason Auer are both striking out a lot and not doing much on the ice cold list. Rounding up Double-A in the Texas League, we've got Evan Carter, one of my favorite prospects in the minor leagues right now. I think there's a lot of 5-tool potential there. Kennedy Corona is having a big 2023, kind of a sleeper guy out of 2023. Bowman with a very high floor. He's played a long time in the minor leagues, and he's a pretty high floor guy with pretty solid career numbers. Brooks Lee making his first or second appearance, I believe, at shortstop with the Minnesota Twins. Colin Barber, another sleeper that I've held on to for several years now since the COVID pandemic. When I bought a bunch of Colin Barber, he's had 4 home runs over the last 15. Lawrence Butler making another appearance, and Jose Ramos with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ice cold in the Texas League, we've got Diego Cartaya, who I just really see a lot of stock dropping with him. I've never really seen why he was so high on a lot of prospect rankings over the last 2 years. I think there were even some that he was inside the top 50. Just really not doing a whole lot with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Aaron Zavala is continuing to struggle. He's kind of like Hassel. I'm really concerned about what's going on with Aaron Zavala, 5 for 36 with 17 Ks over the last 15. Got a big group out of the South Atlantic League in High A. Kevin Parada, Drew Baker, Jacob Belton, Jace Bowen, Brainer Bonacci. This is his back-to-back appearance on the hot sheet, having a pretty big year in 2023. Ryan Clifford and Creed Willems, a guy I just did a big sleeper video on, who I think has a lot of upside. I'm not sure what his comps are at quite yet. After that video, I think they were around like $7 to $10, so could be a guy with some upside on the cheap. Frederick Benscombe, Marcus Lee Sang, and Ignacio Alvarez are rounding up the Sally League. Carson Williams struggling big time with 7 for 42 over his last 15 with 14 Ks, and Brock Jones out of 2023 Bowman struggling big time as well. A few names you may have never heard of popping up in the Midwest League in High A. Jimmy Crooks, Emmanuel Rodriguez is getting back on track with 3 homers in High A over the last 15. Tanner Scoble, Jacob Marcy, Misiel Urbina, Joe Gray Jr., who had a really big 2021, kind of sloughed off in 2022, but he's had a big last 15 days. Milan Tolentino and Kevin Alcantara with the Chicago Cubs is a guy that a lot of people like in the hobby right now. I think it's pretty much based on his ceiling, but he is starting to produce, had 3 home runs over the last 15. Jacob Berry's bat has finally come to life with a home run, a triple, and 4 doubles over the last 15. Damon Keith, Roberto Campos, a guy that I have a pretty nice card of. I bought into him about 2 years ago. I liked his upside. And Caden Wallace out of Arkansas, Kansas City Royals prospect, had a triple, 3 doubles, and 4 RBIs. Now, ice cold is Ed Howard, who's back from being injured for the last 4 or 5 years. It feels like he's been injured forever. He's had 11 strikeouts in the last 15, and Joe Lampe, usually a guy who has a pretty solid hit tools, 3 for 34 with 11 strikeouts. And rounding up High A in the Northwest League is Alex DeJesus, Desan Brown, Jordan Beck coming back to life, and Adrian Shagasti. Grant McCray is struggling in High A, still 15 strikeouts. The guy does strike out a lot, but he does produce. Adrian Placencia, kind of sleeper prospect out of 2023 Bowman Chrome, hitting .216 with 12 strikeouts. Moving on to Low A in the Carolina League, a guy I really like, Dalen Lyle, was injured all last year, and he's having a pretty solid year in 2023. Xavier Isaac, Luis Lara out of 2023 Bowman, a pretty good hit tool there, and Dominic Keegan, probably one of the guys that needs a promotion more than anyone in minor league baseball right now. Ice cold is Carlos Colmenares, and on my last episode I had a guy say, where in the heck is Carlos Colmenares on the hot sheet? And I said, well, he's striking out a lot. He racked up 25 over the last 15, and he's a very good example of why you don't buy into hype of international prospects on release. So hopefully the person that made that comment gets the message here that Carlos Colmenares is struggling big time. Elijah Green is also on the strikeout bus with 18 strikeouts over the last 15 days. In the Florida State League, Shaylin Polanco is finally coming to life along with Sal Stewart, who's been a bit quiet in 2023. Peyton Graham, Cam Collier makes his first appearance on the hot sheet, and Tucker Toman, who's striking out quite a bit but still producing in low A. William Bergolla with the Phillies had an exceptional hit tool in the DSL, but he's struggling a little bit right now, 5 for 27 over his last 15. And Rodolfo Nolasco, 11 strikeouts and a 167 batting average as well. We had a big group in the California League. Yadiel Sanchez, Michael Arroyo with the Seattle Mariners is a guy who's really starting to get hot and gain a lot of traction in the hobby in 2023. Bowman, Ryan Ritter still hitting in low A, and he may be in contention with Dominic Keegan for guys in low A that need a promotion more than anyone else in minor league baseball. Cole Young had a good last 15 days. Nick Biddison hit 3 home runs. Gabriel Gonzalez, another guy out of 2023 Chrome with Jorge Ruiz. That is going to be coming along very nicely in 2023. Luis Rodriguez, a blast from the past, one of the big hype guys out of 2021 Chrome, is finally hitting a little bit over the last 15. And Samuel Zavala, I think, is on his first hot sheet of the year with 3 doubles, 7 RBIs, and 8 walks. Now we've got Christian Robinson back in action after several years off. Lots of stuff going on off the field for Christian Robinson, but he's in low A playing center field, and he's struck out 13 times in 37 plate appearances, and he's only hitting 189, along with Dayton Dooney, who's doing a lot of striking out as well. We've got action going on in the Complex League with a lot of youngsters. Ricardo Cabrera, Jason Trio, a guy that I was telling you about earlier with really exceptional K numbers. Dylan O'Ray, Lonnie White, an injury guy that didn't play much at all in 2022, is coming back and having a pretty solid start to the Complex League. Christian Vaquero is probably one of the big hype guys out of 2022 Bowman Chrome that's actually producing the most so far in 2023. He's having a pretty solid year. Brian Acuna was on the ice cold list in the last episode, and he's jumped on to the honorable mentions list. Simon Juan with the New York Mets and Yordani De Los Santos with the Pittsburgh Pirates, hitting .333 with a home run, a double, 6 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases. Wilman Diaz struggling big time along with his friend Colin Burns. Complex League Baltimore Orioles, 9 Ks and a 0.71 batting average. We finally made it to our top 5, and leading us off is Rhys Hines, Cincinnati Reds, 22.8 in Double-A, converted to left field after his knee injury to try to accelerate the bat, but the bat really hasn't done much since being drafted. He was a guy I was pretty high on. I bought into him during the knee injury because he was so cheap. I knew he had a little bit of juice, and he's had a really big month of June so far. He's hit a lot of home runs. He's got significant power, but the K numbers have just gotten completely out of control for Rhys Hines. I just actually sold my Hines collection to probably the most, the biggest Rhys Hines collector that I know of. Has a lot of low-numbered Rhys Hines stuff and just hoards him. So Brian, I'm glad that you got the package, and he's still a believer. And I'm rooting for you. I couldn't have sold my Hines collection to a better guy and a better collector of his cards, but a 37.2 strikeout rate so far in 2023, a 5.55 K to walk ratio. I think he's got like 100 Ks and like 18 walks, so not very good there, but he's got 13 home runs, a 245 career average, 35.4 career K percentage. So what you see is what you get with Hines. He's going to strike out quite a bit. He's not going to walk much, but he does have some juice if he can get hot and get onto a home run streak like he did in the month of June. He has improved his K numbers, but like I said, the hot streak probably aided that a bit. Not a top 100 prospect. He's number 16 in a stacked Cincinnati Reds organization. He's actually on my chopping block for my Bowman autograph checklist breakdowns over on Patreon. He's a 19 draft Bowman Chrome Auto for about $15. At number 4, a guy that I'm really starting to get into, Roman Anthony, was recently promoted to high A, 19.2, just turned 19, outfielder, hit 4 homers, 3 doubles, 9 RBIs, and 10 walks over the last 15 days. Now, his batting average isn't incredibly high in 2023, but he's got extraordinary K numbers, 19.9 K percentage and 1.04 K to walk ratio. He's growing into some power. He's already got 6 home runs between low A and high A at 19.2. And I think the bat is going to progress significantly based on his K numbers. Like I said, players who have excellent K numbers usually tend to maximize their bat and the production of their bat. So I always keep a close eye on guys like that, and Roman Anthony's one of them. Baby, who just got promoted to high A, not a top 100 prospect, number 9 in the Boston Red Sox organization. He's a 2.5 on Let's Talk Wax rank right now, out of fresh 2023 Bowman for about $50. At number 3, one of my favorite speed power prospects and a former first rounder out of 2021, Tyler Black, Milwaukee Brewers, second baseman, 22.9. He's going to be 23 soon, playing in Double A. Hit 4 home runs over the last 15 days. On the season, he's hitting .266 with a .227 ISO. Pretty solid K numbers, 21.1 K percentage and 1.14 K to walk ratio. 11 tanks and 40 stolen bases in Double A. So we've got game-changing speed here for Tyler Black and just enough power to get me pretty excited. Now, he's not hit for a ton of average, but the power is blossoming and the speed is there. Not a ton of defensive upside at second base, so he's really going to have to hit to find a role at with the big league club in that defensive output. 269 with a 165 career ISO and a 19.7 career K percentage. He's not a top 100 rankee. He is number 5 in the Brewers organization. I give him a 2.5, and he's out of 2021 Bowman draft. I think his cards were around like $10 going into the 2023 season, and some people are starting to catch on to Tyler Black. His cards are right around $30 right now. At number 2, we've got Tirso Ornelas, a guy who has had a lengthy minor league career of over 2,200 career plate appearances. He's never really done a ton of damage in the minor leagues. He's kind of a floor player, and his floor is not very high. He's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 4 for me. A career 260-ish hitter, not a lot of power. He's got pretty solid career K numbers, 9 homers and 4 stolen bases so far in 2023. He's a guy that could possibly get to the next level. I know he plays outfield, and Eggy Rosario went down earlier in the season, and he was a guy that kind of could have been a utility player with the Padres going into 2023 season. But like I said, he's got a ton of experience in the minor leagues. There's a chance he could get a call up at the big league level, but I don't see him being an impact player. But he's been hot over the last 15 days with 4 home runs, 3 doubles, 17 RBIs. So not a top 100 prospect. He's only number 28 in the organization. I give him a Let's Talk Wax rank of 4. You'll have to go all the way back to 2019 Bowman, and you don't want to buy that to break. I think that's the release with J-Rod and Wander in it. It's a super expensive release, and his Bowman Chrome Autos are right around $5 right now. He does not have a first Chrome Auto. He's actually got 2 first Chromes, one in 2017 and one in 2019. So a pretty tricky situation with Tirso Ornelas. But if you're really that dedicated to a guy who has a pretty low ceiling and a pretty low floor, go do some research, because it's going to take a little bit of that to figure out what you want to buy with his cards. At number 1, we've got the gargantuan Coby Mayo at 6'5". He had a pretty rough go in 2022, but he is back in 2023. Had some issues with back spasms. I'm not sure how much that impacted his play, but he is raking so far in Double A in 2023. He's 21.5 years old, third base prospect, hit 6 home runs and 6 doubles over the last 15 with 10 RBIs and 9 walks. Now, Mayo's having a blowout season. Like I said, in 2023, he's hitting .308 with a .291 ISO. One of those special situations where a guy has a 300-plus average and a 200-plus ISO, and Mayo's is nearly to 300 as a 21.5-year-old in Double A. So an extraordinary season so far for him. His cards have jumped way back up, getting closer and closer to $100 for a base auto. 1.65 K to walk ratio, kind of a fringy K rate on the season and on the career at 24 and 25-ish. I like to see the K rates below 20 to commend them for that rate, but the K to walk ratio isn't too bad, under 2. 14 homers, a stolen base. He's got solid career numbers, and they were kind of deflated by his performance in 2022, but he is back. He's back on the top 100 at number 79. He's number 7 in the absolutely most stacked organization in minor league baseball, and you can see how stacked the Orioles organization is when he's number 7 in the organization and he's only number 79 in the top 100. So that means the 6 guys in front of him are all pretty much top 100 prospects. A lot of good stuff going on in that organization. I give Mayo a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2 just because I'm a little hesitant after his 2022 season of how his full sample size in AA is going to pan out. He's a guy that if he continues to do things like this, he could reach the 1.5 to 1 rank. But I'm kind of hanging around to see which direction he goes in the back half. You know, some guys are really hot in the front half, really hot in the back half, or they're kind of backwards, you know, ice cold in the front half or ice cold in the back half. But hopefully he can string it together for a productive full season in AA. 2021 Bowman, and that release is actually starting to get a little bit better. It was one of the worst releases to date coming into last year, but there are some guys from 2021 Bowman starting to pop up and kind of make a little noise in the minor leagues. So go check that checklist out. I have the breakdown over on Patreon, but his cards are right about $80 right now. Like I said, they're probably going to continue to trend up into the $100 mark. That's going to wrap up our Hot Sheet episode 6. And if you guys want to help support the channel and get some exclusive content, check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. I'll also be running some live streams and breaking some cards over on the Whatnot app over the next couple of months. If you guys want to get a free $15 credit to go check it out, you can find the invite link in the video description. Like I said, you'll get a free $15 to spend over on the Whatnot app. I want to give a big shout out to all my level 3 Patreon sponsors, everyone else who supports me on Patreon, and everyone who watches and comments on my videos. You guys rock. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please subscribe, and y'all have a great day.